Southwestern.
This is Jane's car.
Traveling sales.
Hence Jane's problem.
Nationwide insurance.
That's why this is Jane's Insurance Company. The company with round-the-clock claim service and a promise to help put your car back together just as you remember it, just as soon as possible. Ah, and this would be Jane's Smile. Different needs, different solutions. Nationwide, on your side.
Over 13 million satisfied insurance and financial services customers throughout the U.S.
Here's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
The storm that dumped rain and snow through the Mississippi Valley in the southeast yesterday is making its move up the East Coast. The big question now is who's going to be commuting in the rain or snow tomorrow morning. Again, we have two crews in the field. The first is in Cincinnati, where the storm is almost over, and the second one is in New York, where it still is approaching. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us here for the special edition of Weather Center, sponsored by Chevrolet. I'm Will Annan. We've got also some severe weather to talk about in parts of the Carolinas and Florida during this half hour. But first, let's go to the Forecast Center, and Mike Bono is going to talk about the latest on our big East Coast storm.
Thanks a lot, Will. Yes, our March line keeps roaring, now almost to the middle of the month, and we've had wintry weather basically east of the Mississippi without too many breaks for almost 2 weeks now. Let's take a look at this storm, which has really left its mark. If you remember, the last storm left us with up to 14 inches or 16 inches of snow around Minneapolis and then swung on eastward. You're being spared in most of the Great Lakes this time. You did get over a foot in parts of Kansas. You got up to 22 inches in southwest Missouri and the Ozarks, up to 19 inches in northeast Oklahoma, although Tulsa got 6. And now the snow is beginning to accumulate pretty rapidly in parts of the Ohio Valley and even the eastern U.S. This is just today. The accumulations in Cape Girardeau have gotten up to 8 inches, and in southern Illinois, Carbondale with 7. Cincinnati, 4 very quick inches of snow, which really snarled things up at the airport and on the roadways. And Frederick, Maryland with 4, Washington, D.C., 2 inches. On the visible satellite, which we won't be able to use that much longer, as you can see, night falling on the East Coast, a spinning mass of clouds, a ball of cloudiness that is related to our storm with severe weather on the bottom end and snow to the north. Notice the snow that you had in Kansas out to Colorado is shrinking rapidly. Some of the lighter accumulations melting with afternoon March sun, and snow cover still in the upper Midwest as the sun comes out. That's a sign of things to come, by the way. Even as bad as it looks now in the Northeast and Middle Atlantic, some of that's going to melt in just a few days. You could see the snow coming down through Kentucky and moving into West Tennessee. It'll probably change to snow in some of the northern Gulf states toward Georgia by morning. But the main event right now is in the northern tier states, where we've had reports of heavy snow in Johnstown, Altoona, Pennsylvania, heavy snow along the Pennsylvania Turnpike toward Harrisburg, the snow in West Virginia and Ohio. As our storm begins to wind up now on the coastline, we could see snow in Philadelphia, but some light rain which should turn to snow in New York City during the evening hours. Cincinnati, it looks like it's thinning out very nicely and developing south and east of you. Jim Cantore has been in Cincinnati now for a while. Jim braving the delay of the storm last night and then some heavy snow this morning out at the airport, stuck in traffic, and now, Jim, it looks like things are winding down very nicely.
You know, Mike, when you think about all the live shots that I've done for the Weather Channel, this one definitely tops one of the more interesting ones, and we'll tell you about it. First, we take you across the river again, some improvements here. As we look off to the north and west, you can see the cloud base lifting and breaking, looking up at the mid and high level clouds above the lower cloud deck. So definitely some good news here. Our ceiling continues to come on up, and we are much, much improved from where we were around 12:30 and 1 o'clock this afternoon, which is unfortunately where I'm going to take you now. Now for the bad news. This whole event was a 2.5-hour event. Really. We had 1 to 2 inches an hour. We wound up with 4 to 5 inches of snow down around the airport, and that's where the big problems arose. As we had the slippage and the sliding on the roads, a lot of accidents here. We were moving very, very slowly in our effort to come back down here to do live shots for you as this event moved through. We got to the airport. We were supposed to fly up to the Northeast to do coverage. Kristen Dodd's on her way to Boston now because we couldn't make it there, and our flight was canceled, so we just came back down here to do some shots for you and show you the pictures of what we actually dealt with. But the pictures that I just showed you, keep in mind, if you live in the Northeast, Pennsylvania, up through the megalopolis, you could deal with similar situations like that as this heavy, wet spring snow makes its way northeastward over the next couple of days. That's it for us here in Covington, Kentucky. A big thanks to Blair Carper and Dwight Woods for helping us out here. They definitely are the better half of my team. Right back to you. Actually, let's go back to White Plains, New York right now. Bill is just starting to get into this storm a little bit. Any snow yet, Mr. Keneally?
It is getting there, Mr. Cantore. We're trying. I tell you, there's not a whole lot of white in White Plains as of yet, but I promise you it'll come in with fury before too long. Kristen Dodd's going to fly over this. She's not going to see a whole lot out of that window seat, I promise. But again, it is starting to mix over, rain over to snow. The rain kicked in around 2:30 very lightly. We've had the chance of getting a little snow in here periodically. It's still about a 50-50 ratio, I'd say. The good news is temperature is still above freezing. The roadways are wet behind me. This is Main Street here in White Plains. And once again, folks, this is eerily familiar. It seems like March events tend to want to start as rain. I believe even the Great Blizzard of '88 did, and I know the Superstorm of '93 did in a lot of areas. So don't let your guard down. This one will, in fact, turn over to snow, and very, very soon. So we're looking okay now, but things will get a whole lot worse as the evening wears on. Now back to Mike Bono. Mike?
Thanks a lot, Bill Keneally. Yeah, hunker down, and it looks like you're going to get that snow this evening very shortly. That's Bill Keneally in White Plains in the suburbs of Westchester County, just north of New York City. On the radar, we can see a very uniform...
The entrance. What do you say we go inside?
Call 1-407-W-Disney and make your dream come true.
Here's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.